Good evening. We're here at Barbershop Talk, episode number 27 at the House of Experts, 728 Broadway in the city of Patterson. The owner and proprietor, Jonathan Vicicio, is handing out empanadas down there. Jonathan, does the empanada guy get a shout out today or what? He could get that. Yeah, come on up. Give him a shout out. We got to give him. So every episode there's empanadas here. John provides them through the House of Experts. John's been here 21 years serving our community, not just as a barber, but book bag giveaways, free haircuts, you name it. Anytime we call him, John is there for us. So John, and he's also the volleyball coach now for recreation. Go ahead, Coach. Tell us about our empanada guy before we get.
It's our neighbor next door, Broadway East.
Well, I got Broadway East some business. A guy from out of town called me, and I thought that's where you said he was. He said, "Where are the empanadas from?" I said, "Right next to 728 House of Experts." So tell him, he need to give you a discount on those empanadas. Any updates on volleyball?
We've been doing great. Our summer program is about to start now in July. Registrations will be open next
April
month,
16th.
April 16th. Join because I already have everybody's waiting to just sign up again. They're not trying to have their kid be left out.
All right, well, listen, I can tell you this right now. Recreation stuff real quick. Got to give these championship teams a shout out. I'll start off in the Tall Adobe Basketball League. Back-to-back champ, Science and Technology, Coach Keli Brevard and Sean Diggs winning back-to-back at the Barclays Center. Great night in the Barclays Center, HBCU night. We brought over 800 people from Patterson there. Unbelievable night. The runner-up was the Taub School, did a great job. Our NIT champion was New Roberto Clemente. Coach Dyer, one of our former rec kids, is now the coach out there, and he won the NIT championship. And the Patterson Youth Basketball League, great season this year. And the younger division, the midget division, Pee Wee division, whatever you call it, Legacy wins again for probably like the 7th year in a row. Eric and Lamar do an amazing job with those young kids over there with the Legacy. The junior lightweight champions are Grace Chapel. Coach P, Kalo, and them guys are unbelievable mentors and leaders of men. And the lightweight champions, guess who the lightweight champion is, Mike? Baby Rob. It ain't for everybody. The Hollywood Ballers. Baby Rob said he's retiring. Big shout out to Baby Rob. He's won the champion.
For the most chips.
He got a lot of chips. He's like the Bill Russell of Little League basketball. Baby Rob, as he said, it ain't for everybody.
7 feet shorter.
Yeah. Look, he got a lot of chips. So great job, Reggie Satchel, all the guys who worked the Patterson Youth Basketball League. Greatly appreciate it. A big shout out to Victor CRUZ. Victor CRUZ is making it possible for 20 of our girls will be going to New York this Saturday, and they will get new sneakers, and they will be there with Flo J, the young lady from LSU. So our girls are going to get a chance to meet Flo J and get new sneakers. Thank you, Victor CRUZ, the Victor CRUZ Foundation. Greatly appreciate all that you do for us in our community. So let's jump into this real quick. We have School Board Commissioner Kenny Simmons. Can you give us an update on the school closings?
So today we went before the administrative law judge. We filed 2 petitions. We filed a petition on the merits based on the law being broken, and then we filed a petition for emergent relief, which would stop the action. We weren't successful. I thought we gave a great argument, but it still sets forth the actual trial, if you will. So we have to go back on May 4th. We start discovery process. We'll have to identify some witnesses, and hopefully we can get through it by June. Okay. So we're going to try and push for an earlier hearing date, but that's where we are right now.
And one of the issues, and I know our sitting council people, many people live in Patterson, people are like, why are you so adamant about not closing schools? Because I live in Patterson. That's right. I don't have no fake address. I live here. 5 generations living here, and understand we're going to get bigger before we get smaller. And our population numbers, and Councilman Jackson, Councilman Mendez, please keep this in mind as we continue this fight. In 1980, 139,800 people. 1990, 145,400 people. 2000, 149,222. 2010, 146,199. 2020, 159,732 people. Now that does not count undocumented folks, people that didn't get counted on. We have become like the 6th borough of New York. Like we are overpopulated. We have buildings going up, all over the city of Patterson. And we went from 2010 where we were complaining about vacant lots to you can't find space. to do certain things here. So that's my argument on here. If you live here, you understand that you cannot close schools when we're going to get bigger. We are not a community where it's going to be 2.5 kids, a dog, and a garage. That's just not going to happen. You know, we're moving, and in the years of when we had public housing, where we had 2-bedroom apartments with 5, 6 people living in them. That was a norm. You know, so that's my fight. Keep up the good fight. I know Corey Teague is doing better. I want to give a shout out to Commissioner Corey Teague for, you know, putting up the fight. Alex Mendez Jr. for also being, and this is not about being against anybody. This is about, I have no kids. I ain't got nobody else. You, at this point, our kids have aged out of the school district. But I know at 8 o'clock in the morning, I know what our city looks like. I know what our city looks like after 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And more importantly, when you say things like, we're going to lay off 200 teachers when we already had 150 vacancies. So these are the fights that folks have to fight and stand up and be there. And I'm proud of all the young folks. Somebody said, where was you at? Like, one night, I didn't know, I called you up, I said, I didn't even know there was a meeting, but I'll be there in due time. Yep. And I've stated my point to the state and things that why I'm fighting for this, because this is about our kids in our community. Because when you're telling a kid that wanted to be in a single gender school or whatever because he had issues, and now you're telling him you got to go back to your neighborhood school, that may have been a failing school. Yeah. Yep. And you're going that choice, you're almost pushing kids to the charter schools. Yep. If I'm a parent, I'm sending my kid to a charter school then. So then we're complaining about the financial aspect of the charter schools, that we're paying in here, we're paying in the PCTI. Well, let's get better. Let's create more choices. Right. And that's what it started 20 years ago when I was a teacher, the academies. That's where Panther came from. That's where all these other things. So fight, Patterson. This is not about superintendent. This is not about even school board commissioners. This is about what's done happen 5 years from now when we're at 180,000 people and we're saying we're closing schools and we're going to go to the SDA and ask for money for schools. How do you ask for money for schools? You know, so I'm not letting you win. Go ahead, Councilman.
I would just want to touch on that. I completely disagree with Commissioner here. First, I want to say hats off to him. Everybody should be giving him a great round of applause, man, because let me tell you, he wrote an immaculate brief. He posed the question, the argument very well. Where it failed was the fact that the judge didn't feel like it was an emergency, but she definitely validated every point he made. He brought forward case law. He brought forward all of the mitigating facts that I think will help vindicate, you know, in the long run. And you know, the sad thing is that we have fellow commissioners that's not willing to have this open conversation with the community on what their rationale is behind closing it. You know,
and like I said, it's no knock. Everybody, I've made decisions as an elected official. You've been an elected official 12, 10 plus years, 10 plus years. And sometimes I look back and go, man, that was a bad decision. But I've been man enough to go, man, I apologize. That was a bad decision. Right. Yeah. And as an elected official, you are going to make decisions. But sometimes you got to humble your ass. Exactly. Eat some humble pie and go, look, this is not good for us. This is not good for our community. And I was there. Like, I mean, early on, you were a big supporter of mine when I first came on. When Jeff Jones was the mayor, they put him behind 2 8 balls. Like, you're talking about laying off 125 cops. You're talking about increase in property taxes when there was supposed to be a cap, and then looking for miracles. You know, and I remember not voting to go after some of his people. And people are like, why are you going? Because no. It's not about him. It's just wrong. So go ahead.
No. And as you mentioned, Senator, I mean, Mendez Jr. has been fighting alongside with Commissioner Simmons. I mean, we playing with people's lives. We playing with families right now. Moving kids from one school to another school, it's just unacceptable. They don't understand that. Listen, here in Patterson, Senator, we got more than 200,000 people living here. You mentioned that. 8 o'clock and 3 p.m., just go around Patterson, you will see it now. It is something that we all have to come together and fight back on this, because it's going to affect a lot of family, and it's affecting them right now, and children also. That's going to affect them emotionally, mentally, and all the different
ways. And it has. Our kids have been through enough, and I don't want to repeat what I said last time about COVID. The social emotional issues that our kids face from COVID alone, from losing family members, from living in quarters, there's all types of stuff that they have. So a big shout out to your son, Alex Mendez Jr., who's a product of Norman S. Ware. Went away, you know, high school, college, and came back. These are the people we need to be elected into the school boards. People that have investments into our kids and our community. And I think people need to do their homework. If somebody doesn't have any kids, has nothing, but they want to be on the school board, You got to look at the rationale of why people are certain here. And you know, for years, no offense to certain people, it went from school board to city council to other things. But at the end of the day, where's your heart at for Patterson? Where's your heart at for the kids? This is not no Republican or Democrat or Green Party thing. This is definitely not along party lines. So I'm glad that John McEntee is also a supporter, and we're going to get John on here real soon and some of his people, but we have to fight for our kids. And I know at Norman S. Ware, and me and Mike had this conversation, almost every lifeguard that has come through the city of Patterson has come from Norman S. Ware and Alexander Hamilton. Now, Alexander Hamilton has been Felicia them teaching them how to swim at the Boys and Girls Club. And it's something that, you know, in minority communities, a lot of people can't swim. Every year we dealt with as kids, somebody drowning, you know, when we went to one of these beaches or one of these lakes or something, because they didn't know how to swim. So another story, we're going to jump right into other stuff. Mike, we finished with so many topics that we go on. Let's talk about job creation here in the city of Patterson. What does your job creation plan look like for the city of Patterson?
Job creation is the ~1 element that's ailing our city. I mean, you know, we have gone and given away so many large-scale contracts where developers are making $24, $30 million in developers' fees. My plan is to definitely bring all of the city services back home, rebuild our DPW department through our own garbage collection, our own road resurfacing, as I talked to you about before, put our own transfer station right there next to Ray Lyon Field, where it's adjacent to the train tracks. Not only will we be able to create an enormous amount of jobs, but we'll save a great deal of money instead of paying out a third-party company $30 million a year just to transport our garbage via train right down the road. You know, we have to be able to think outside the box and be able to be willing to commit ourselves to hiring local. I have so many calls, and I'm sure you do as well as a senator, as a recreation director. People are looking for jobs all the time while we're allowing for these large-scale third-party companies to make millions and millions of dollars on our community.
And Mike, your family, long time, Jackson family, been here for many years. We were an industrial city for so many years that all of our dads worked in these factories, the dye factories down at Bunker Hill and different places like that. What's the next step that we could say, all right, Patterson, is there something that's going to be, what level that you say we can attract businesses to come here and also to hire our folks?
Well, I think the first priority, I took a lot of heat years ago when I first ran for council because I talked about the poor decision of the mall. And I said then, if the owner didn't have such deep pockets, the mall would have went out of business a long time ago, which proved to be true. You know, what we have to do is make sure our community's working. As a longtime business owner, I understand that the way my business thrives is the way in which my community can support it. If I don't have people working, if they don't have disposable revenue on top of the exorbitant rents now, what we've done is we've allowed for, again, third-party companies to dictate what our rental margins are. You know, instead of housing, you know, doing what they're responsible to do, create more housing opportunities and things of that nature. You know, we've allowed them to outsource it to third-party companies. So rents went from $600, $700, $900 to $3,200. So what does that do? That cuts into people's disposable revenue, and it's going to impact the local businesses. If I have less money to spend, then I can't go out and support the businesses locally.
All right, and Alex, along the same line, what is your job creation plan?
Well, I tell you, I've been in business center over 20 years. Right now, that's one of my biggest concerns right now here. People, there's no job in the city. People are struggling. They're going out. They have to go out of Patterson to be able to get a job. And Patterson has one of the best locations. Patterson was the first industrial city in the nation because of our location. We're 20 minutes away from New York City, one of the most important cities in the country. And look at the condition of the Patterson. But we got to be honest. We have to organize the city first. We got to clean the city. We got to bring safety in every corner. We got to make the city affordable for people before. Then right after that, I'm planning to rebuild the downtown area. We don't have any business building here, so I'm going to concentrate on lobbying with local entity to make sure, and also corporation, to bring those corporations back in Patterson and start creating jobs in the city of Patterson. High-paid job that could definitely allow people to pay the rent that we have, the current rent that we have right now. People are spending 70–80% of the money that they're making just in rent center here because all the jobs that we're getting in the city of Patterson is $17, $18, $20 an hour. That need to change. When it comes to the city, I'm looking to reorganize what it called the Department of Public Works in terms of funding right now. increase the salary of our workers in public work. DPW workers, they make the lowest salary, not only in Patterson, but look around the city. We cannot compete with any other municipality. Why we don't have enough CDL drivers to drive the trucks? Because they move on, they leave the city. They're not making no money at all. In my administration, I'm going to increase the salary, 55,000 and up, just a starting salary plus benefit, just to get those people here and start creating jobs. When it comes to the Department of Public Works, in terms of job creation, I'm planning to bring garbage collection in-house gradually, and I'm going to use the bulk pickup that we have, and I'm going to start with that by changing what's going on now. But especially, I'm going to tap into those corporations, and I want to bring those corporations here in the city of Patterson to start building our city with jobs that could definitely compete.
So I'm going to come back to you guys on that job thing, because that's not enough time really to get to you. I want to hear more about like technology, this movie, thing going up here in South Patterson. Like, what's new? We need some new stuff. And we don't need to reinvent the wheel. We just need to go other places to see where they're successful. You remember New Brunswick back in the day, how it was the hood downtown in New Brunswick. If you went down to Rutgers, you wasn't safe. Now, New Brunswick has hotels, has restaurants, has a bunch of, so we'll talk about that here. So I'm gonna go down to Commissioner CRUZ. Commissioner CRUZ, just give me an update what's going on in the county, and what is the county contributing to the city of Patterson as far as economic development?
Yeah, thank you. So the county, I mean, we're continuing to move the needle forward. Our budget right now is about $460 million. That's over $50 million in investment in our county parks throughout all 16 municipalities. Over $25 million invested in our county technical high school and our community college as well, ensuring that kids, where a large majority are from the city of Patterson, have a high quality education in the high school level and in the college level as well. And over $100 million of our budget goes to public safety. Our sheriff department, our public safety academy, which 15 out of the 16 municipalities use to train their police officers. And we just recently, or we're about to cut the ribbon on an affordable housing project in Pompton Lakes that's open to all residents of Passaic County, 62 and older, specifically geared to seniors and veterans. So we're looking forward to that. And there is a second potential project in and around Heldon that also, we're looking at now. We're looking at a feasibility study at an area over there. But the county's moving forward. You talked about job creations before and economic development. Over $4 million of open space grants go throughout all 16 municipalities. $500,000 went to the city of Patterson just last year for the steps of Eastside Park and the other steps over on Broadway. Another $500,000 for veteran parks over on Union Avenue, 2 small little pocket parks that go across from each other. And I would say 7 out of the 10 projects that we have lined up in the county all have PLAs. So not only are we creating jobs, but we're creating good union paying jobs. A lot of the individuals there are from Patterson as well. And so we also have a direct hire program. So a lot of these skilled laborers can directly get hired by our county so that we don't have to continue subbing out the work to private contractors. And we just brought on a bunch of plumbers and electricians that are working in our facilities department as well. So we save money, but they're still good, well-paying jobs for skilled labor as well. So,
all right. Well, listen, I'm going to get back to you. I want to touch on veteran affairs when we talk again, because I think, we all talk that when it comes to housing and homeless veterans, I think that's one of the biggest stains on America, not just Patterson or Passaic County, New Jersey. What more can we do to make sure that many of our homeless vets get the full service care that they need? And what is the county contributing to that? Because I know you've done some projects in the past. All right, let's get to the city council. And folks, we could not get 16 people in here at any point to do a whole show. We would have to use a whole studio to do it. But I want to bring some of the city council members, and particularly the incumbents, in to talk about their platform and why they're running and why you should vote for them. So we'll start off with our council president, Council President MIMMS, whose voice is a little shot, but I know she's gonna dig deep and give us something.
So my apologies, I am under the weather. I'm on the men's at this point, but I wanted to be here. Thank you, Assemblyman, and to this team. So I voted for him, twice. But to the senator and all of you, but I just want to say that these platforms are very important because people watch them all the time. So for me, I have been in the city council for the last 8 years. When I came to the council, one of the things that was really dear to my heart was recreation. When I had a conversation with our senator, I had found out that $750,000 was taken away out of that budget. We advocated very hard to ensure that money was put back in there and then to make sure all of our parks are done. We created a master parks plan. vision plan for the parks, and every park in the city has been either added new parks, upgraded new parks, fields, tennis courts, soccer fields, you name it. The other thing is, I love how the county commissioner talked about PLAs and direct hires. When I met with the union and some of the laborers, that was one of the things, that was one of my initiatives in 2018. I'm happy to say that I was one of the sponsors of that for Patterson. I think that's very key in Patterson, that we have direct hire agreements as well as our private labor agreements, and I'm working on the language for community benefit agreements, which really benefits the city by saying to these developers, this is a piece that you can participate in helping our community, but that language has to be put in place, and then we have to encourage the administration to work based on the agreements we have in place so people can get prevailing wages. And then the third thing is to make sure quality of life. Our streets are absolutely filthy. People have talked about it, bringing bulk back and putting a contract for it once the contract ends is something that I plan to do upon re-election. So I'm asking community to vote me back in the seat. We've done some great work. I am out in the community every day. You call me, I respond, and I've always been there. My number is 13B on the ballot. MIMMS for the win. Thank you,
Thank you, Council President. And next to her, we have another councilwoman who was incumbent, Councilwoman MARITZA Davila.
So thank you so much, Senator. I'm the Vice President of the Council. I have been the longest
And
standing.
the chair of Passaic County Democrats.
Yeah, but we're not here as a Democrat. We are here for the people of Patterson. I'm a proud Democrat, but I'm not here. I represent the entire city. Republicans, green, yellow, it doesn't matter. I represent the city of Patterson. As a born and raised Pattersonian, I've been given the opportunity, and I am the longest standing at large in the city. I'm the first Latina to be elected. It does not mean that I'll be the last. I'm asking for another term because there has been work that has been done. No one can say that work has not been done. Can we say that we need to do better? Absolutely. Can we say that our city is dirty? Yes, it is. It is true. So we have to continue to work together. And with this administration, nobody does it alone. There's no I here. When people say I, it's we. There's a group of people that get together. At least 5 of us come together, like-minded, and get things done. We go to you, Senator. We go to the Assembly. We go to the Congress. We go to everyone, and we advocate. I know that I've been a big advocate, for public safety first. I run on that. I run that you have to be consistent with your word. You have to stand on your convictions. You may not like it, but that's who I am. I stand on my convictions, and I work very closely with all who want to work with me. I am a person of my word, unlike what people may say. I know what I do. I wake up every day and I thank God. Thank you for another day, because I'm here to serve the community. In terms of work and things, we have done on the council, we've been able to, and Council President alluded to it, about the parks being done. That was an initiative that, yes, it was there was a master parks plan, but we went to Chattanooga, Tennessee, and we were able to see the best practices there. And through that advocacy, we were able to come back, and this, I can say, I made a recommendation to create, just like we have in the county, as I was part of the exemption of the
Friends of County Parks.
of Passaic County Parks. I went to be from being a founding member, to being the chair, and I thought that was something that we can bring to the city of Patterson. So when people say, "Oh, it's all about parks," no. Parks are just part of it. Our children should be able not to go to Saddlebrook or to go to other places. They should be able to go to the beautiful Eastside Park. Now with the investment that we're doing in millions of dollars, thank you to the county. Yes, I was one of those individuals that thought that maybe that the county, since they do such a great job, that, being in partnership. But then there was the other piece of, what happens to our Pattersonians, who gets first dibs. And so understanding that, stood to the side and said, I'm not going to push for that. Understanding that, again, anything that we do, we need to have partnerships. Relationships matter. And, what's so great is that, even at the governor's level, even at, the commissioner, our DCA commissioner, there's a lot of things that are going to be said here. But we stand by an MOU that we must abide. I wish and hope that someday we can get off this transitional aid so we could really do the work that we need to do in the city. But in the meantime, don't get it twisted. we are not able to get those jobs and hire, and increase all those salaries, for so many of our Pattersonians that deserve it, right? Because there is an ordinance in place that you have to get approved. So we, the council, can go and say, we push for this, right? And it goes right back to the state, to DCA, and you know this, Senator, you know very well.
I've been there, and I'm going to ask you to wrap it up so we can get
Yes.
down the line.
So with that said, Patterson, thank you, Senator, and to everyone here today. I'm asking for another term. I'm running on Consistency Matters, and I am part of a team that you can trust. Thank you very much.
And on that note, I want to make it perfectly clear that Mayor Andre Sayre was invited today, and he said he had a previous engagement, and my schedule didn't allow for me to push around stuff. So the mayor is on a ticket with Councilwoman MIMMS and Councilwoman Davila, and they gave his spill. So he's been given a chance to come here, and he declined to come. And I did have him before. But next up, we have a guy who's a little shy. I don't know if we're going to be able to get anything out of him. Dave Gilmore. I hear he's been quiet for a while. I don't know what's going on. Come on up, big guy. Dave, tell us, why are we voting for Dave Gilmore to be a councilman at large?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for inviting me. I've heard you had about 27 sessions and just got an invite, so I thank you for that.
I apologize for that. You definitely should have been on the list by then. But May 12th, we got to talk. You went on May 12th, called me up that morning. We may have a one-on-one after that.
Listen, I plan on being very vocal and about a lot of things once my gag order is lifted. So.
And I wasn't going to ask you about the gag order.
I'm going to tell you.
Everybody here is like, what the hell is going on with the gag order? But no, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I'm restricted on what I can say and what I can't say based on a gag order.
Are you going to be voting for Andre Sayre for mayor?
Hell no.
Did I blow your gag order?
Was that part of the gag order?
That's not part of the
But
gag
no,
order.
go ahead. Tell us why we're voting for Dave Gilmore for city council at large.
Okay, well, thank you again. I think that one of the reasons why I present myself as a candidate is because I am truthfully and brutally honest about what I say and do. And I think that too many people are blissfully ignorant running around here with not the proper information to make informed decisions. That's the problem. I've been begging for years for reports. And some people have been on these committees for multiple years, back and forth, and never produced reports. We don't know. Particularly, you can liken yourself to what just happened over the weekend with Galaxy Chemical burning up and all the other fires that we have in the city. How many fires have we had over the past 10 years, and how many were arson or investigated or vacant and abandoned or whatever the case may be? You don't get no reports. We had 672 people died from COVID. I begged over and over and over again, where did they live so I can go out and send inspectors for their inability to quarantine in overcrowded conditions? Nothing. So there's plenty of blame to go around, but because I've been the Community Improvements Code Enforcement Director for the city for these past 11 years, I know where the bodies are buried. And I want to take what I know and move it to the council so that I can then get people to do their job. I can't make people do their job from my position. But if I'm on the council and I'm signing off on the budget, I got more authority and more persuasiveness with my colleagues to make people report to us. Why are we now in a $70 million bonding position? Where's the reports of where the money was spent? Where's my change? All this money that's been spent. Where's my change from what happened? 100 million plus on the Hitchcock Stadium. Where's the overruns? What happened? There's not enough accountability. So when I say to you that my campaign and why I'm running is because I'm a blow the whistle for accountability.
Dave, I'm going to bring you back up. So we're going to bring up Paula. I'm not done with you, Dave, so have a seat.
Well, I'm not done either.
I know you're not. That's what I said. So listen, next we have a young lady who's running for at large, Paula Alford. Paula's been out here, out and about in the community years before running for office, former chair of the Housing Authority, and also now this out and about, you can find Paula anywhere. So Paula, tell us why we're voting for Paula Alford for council at large.
First, thank you for having me here. Plain and simple, I'm a Patterson girl, born and raised. About 5 years ago, made one of the biggest investments that I've ever made in my life, and I bought a home here. And even before buying a home, was the president of a tenants council, and have always advocated for the rights of people. But buying a home took it to another level because I began paying taxes. And by paying taxes, I wasn't seeing my money line up with the services. And more than going to Facebook and complaining or getting with my friends and being annoyed and aggravated, I wanted more access to be able to give community more access to the things that I know bother me. It bothers me that when I call police, I can't really get police at my door. It bothers me that I have a 15-year-old son who really doesn't like to come outside, and I almost feel embarrassed driving around the city with him because there's so much garbage. So I want to be a part of the change. I am running on public safety because I believe in the work of our firefighters. I believe in the work of our policemen. I think there needs to be better communication, better relationships. My entrepreneurial past allows me to bring partnerships as part of my experience in that way. I'm running on quality of life. I just explained to you about the garbage. I'm disgusted with the garbage that's in the city. It's almost to the point that we need to start talking about environmental racism. And then I'm running on attainable housing. Attainable housing for me is for people like me, right? We have low income housing, and then you have housing at a high bracket. But in that gray area, for people that want to become homeowners, there should be more access. For those people that's making $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year. They don't, quite make enough to just go buy a home, but they make too much to qualify for a lot of programs. So attainable housing is a housing for all. We don't want to forget about the middle piece. So I am 3B on the ballot. I'm a community girl. I've worked with most of you throughout the years through nonprofits that I've created as an entrepreneur, such as FTI or Newsplash, with bringing the spelling bee back to this city, working with entities such as McDonald's and Target and Burlington, with bringing them into our city and making them see the value in working with our city. So I'm hoping to get on the council, looking to work with all of the people on the council. They've been there much longer than I have, looking to glean into them, but also looking to bring in my experience, a new face, a fresh perspective, so that we can make some changes in the city of Patterson.
Thank you, Paula.
Thank you.
All right, appreciate you. Paula had Fetty Wap at Vera Ames Park the other day, so she's promising Fetty Wap concert for the summer recreation this year. Any truth to that, Paula?
We're gonna see what we can do.
Okay, all right. You know some people who know some people. I know you know. Eddie Olivares, probably the most. I only catch your clips on city council comments. You know how you have a reel and stuff. Eddie, I love what your fight for the city. But now tell our community, tell the guys who are just the guys who go to basketball games, the guys who will go to Dunkin' Donuts, why we should vote you as a councilman at large.
I hear a lot of the people that are running for the 3 seats that are up, and they're promising the people of Patterson the world. We've heard Ms. Davila say that the city is dirty. She's been there for over 12 years. And under the conditions that they're in, they have the mayor on their side, and they have 8 council members. If you cannot clean the city under those conditions, listen, you can't do it. That's the bottom line. Now, the most important thing that we can do, and the reason that you should support me, is that, if I win, there are some things that I can do, but that's not the most important thing. The most important thing that we can do is elect a mayor that has a plan to really move the city forward. And by the way, Mr. Simmons, hats off to you. I didn't know that you were going down to Newark. Next time, please let me know. I will be standing with you shoulder to shoulder. We shouldn't let the city close those schools. But anyway, going back on this, the most important thing that we can do is make sure that we choose a mayor that is ready, has a plan to clean this, to fix the city. I'm supporting Councilman Jackson 4A. That's the most important
kidding. That's
thing.
The best guy we got here.
The bottom line is, Councilman Jackson has a plan.
No, we're going to talk about Eddie Olivares. We're going to give him a chance.
I am telling you why it is that you should vote for me is because I am supporting him. Okay. He is the only person that really has a plan to clean the city. He wants to put an end to the Garden State growth zone. That is a mess. The city is overdeveloped already. There are no parkings. There is nothing. It's filthy. This administration has not been able to do anything. And so I tell you, and I tell the people of Patterson, the reason you should support me is because I am going to get on that council, and support the measures being brought by the mayor's office. It's the only way that we can fix the city.
Okay. Well, Eddie, I appreciate it. And me and Mike have talked. Obviously, the Garden State Growth Bill is my bill, one of my bills. But that's when we had unbelievable amount of vacancies. Governor Street did not look like that in 2000.
I understand that, yeah. But it's time.
Now,
it's time
I think we're here. But the bigger issue is, and this is for all the candidates, is what are we going to do when another 20,000 people move into Patterson? Yeah, and they're not locals. You're talking about from Washington Heights, from New York. Other people are coming here because we're cheaper. We're complaining about rents, but compared to New York, we're a discount. And people forget that dollar bus go right across that bridge. And if you get in the car, besides the crazy tolls.
The problem is that we're driving the people out of Patterson.
Me and Mike have a common agreement on that.
Yeah, you have people coming from other cities and taking over the city of Patterson, and the residents from here cannot afford it. They have to move out.
I got you.
And so that's the reason you should support me. I am 8B on the ballot, but number 1, 4A for Mike Jackson.
You should be his campaign manager too, Eddie. That's a great sell. But I'm going to bring up a guy who is old school. We go back to the 80s. Mitch Santiago. If you didn't know Mitch back in the day, he was a famous artist.
The graffiti king.
And I didn't say graffiti. I say he's an artist. He's an artist, you know. But Mitch, I know Mitch can appreciate this because back in the day, he used to come in the barbershop when Taffy had the shop. They were down on West Broadway. You remember West Broadway? Everybody went down there. The Barbies, you remember the shop? The Eric. And Eric was my man. So Eric, I used to come home from college to get an Eric haircut. You know, that's what I had here. But I remember Mitch used to always come in the barbershop with Sharon Eason. Then they were working on with the police doing the meter maid stuff. So you've always been part of this community. Why now, and why Mitch Santiago for council at large?
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for the invite, and I also want to thank all the individuals and citizens of the city of Patterson for coming here tonight. As for the city council members and some of the ones that are running for mayor, I also want to say thank you for coming. I want to thank God for giving me the opportunity to be here and be able to speak. I worked for the city of Patterson for 35 years, Department of Public Works. I was a senior code inspector, which I have the experience. I worked in the sheriff department for 15 years. I was in the courthouse 10 years. I went to patrol and I became a narc. I went to narcotics. People don't even know that. I never went to just say, I'm a narc, I'm a narc. I never like grandstand like that. I was elected to the Patterson School Board. I was elected 3 terms. I was vice president twice and president one time. My mentor was Al Moody, Anne-Marie Vinceri, Jim Comerford. I had great individuals that taught me very well. I'm a father, and my children are products of the city of Patterson. I have 11 children, 7 daughters, 4 boys.
You won the election with your own kids.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm glad that my son is graduating from the Bergen County Police Academy next month.
Yes,
and I gotta let you know about that so you can come.
Yeah.
My smallest is leaving to the military. She leaves July 6th. She is the last of my family to actually graduate from my children. But here comes the next batch. I have 11 grandchildren, so we start all over again. But nevertheless, I had the experience. We do have problems with the garbage in the city of Patterson. I actually know exactly how to handle it, how to attack it, and we could attack it by the throat. And I'm going to tell you something. A lot of these dumpers that are coming from other cities into Patterson and dumping here, they should pay the price. They should get a $20,000 fine, get arrested, get the vehicles towed like Frank Graves used to do back in the day. So that's what we used to do when I was an inspector. We used to tow the vehicles in the spot. And then community service. We need to put them in the lots that are all dumped so they can clean it themselves, so they can actually know what it is, the garbage that they dump in the city of Patterson. Our homeowners need to be a little bit more responsible. And you can't throw everything also at the landlord, because you got people living in these properties, excuse my French, a bunch of pigs. Some people just don't give respect. They start throwing garbage out the window. I've seen people throwing cups of coffee out the window. I gave a PBA card to a person. The cop pulled them over. They took a water bottle, threw out the window, and they hit the cruiser. So this is the things that we're dealing with. Another thing that we're dealing with is the police. We need more units. This is why I started thinking of bringing an idea of reserve police. Reserve police, other communities are using them. This here in Patterson, a lot of people are not aware of reserve police. They go to the academy for 6 months. They get Title IIC, Title 39, plus they carry full police power, and they are volunteer. You put them in downtown, and it's good for our youngsters that are 18, 19 years old, because what happens is when they take that test and they pass it, they already got one foot in the door because they got that certificate. They did the 6 months in the police academy. But it also helps. You got a lot of people that want to volunteer, want to help, and says, hey, I'll go to the academy. I'll do the reserve police. Put them in downtown areas. Put them in the parks. And that's why public safety, and it helps the people to get safe anyway.
Thanks, Mitch. Appreciate you. And Councilman Jackson and I believe Mendez both talked about the class 2. The one thing I would say, I want people getting paid. I don't want to go to a barber that's free either. So I want somebody paid to do the job. I'm not going to eat at a restaurant where they just give them food away. So let's give them some money so they have affordable living here. Mr. UDDIN, come on up, MOSLEH. Me and his family go back 20-something years. His dad used to be one of Marty Barnes' guys back in the day. Tell me why you're running for council at large.
To start off, I want to thank Senator Benjie Wimberly and the House of Experts for having all of us and to all the community leaders here. I'm humbled to run. MOSLEH UDDIN, I'm 1B on the ballot. A lifelong resident. Patterson has been the home I have ever known. I was born and raised here. I'm a kid that was running around the city of Patterson. And one of the things that resonates with me is I'm a Costello pool kid. A lot of my community members, we didn't have pools. Our neighbors didn't have pools, so where we went when we wanted to swim, we went to the Costello pool. My uncle actually was a lifeguard there in the 90s. So certain things that stay with you. And I feel like we have to continue to make sure that we're fighting for our youth, because at the end of the day, that's our future. So shout out to everyone that went down to Newark and stuff fighting for it. It's unfortunate that what's going on with the 4 schools, that it's a major disappointment in our community, because these are these top performing schools. And it's so unfortunate that this is what's going on, because at the end of the day, we got to make sure that these are the people that, you know, we invest. And at this time, we're not investing in our youth when we're letting this happen, you know. And honestly, it's happening under our watch. And if we don't speak of it, then we're part of the problem instead of being the resolution. And it's unfortunate because these kids, like for example, you have so many parents are in the city of Patterson. They're working like 2 jobs, you know, just to get by. So once that shift changes, it's a ripple effect. Well, I went to school 19 and I went to school 5, and there was a major change just going from school 19, because it was from kindergarten to 4th grade, and then going from 5 to 8, it was a big difference. And then when I went to Kennedy High School, it was a big jump. You know, there's certain things you have to get used to, certain routes. So that just discourages the youth and as well puts a strain on the parents. So hopefully we're able to make sure that we keep these schools open, because a lot of these parents, they're working 2 jobs. How are they going to navigate through that?
Your format will be working with youth.
Of course.
And it's a good target. I mean, I'm just going
right, of course, because that's what I grew up in.
Yeah.
Coming from a low-income housing, there was a program that, it was PEP 21. And one of the mentors was Jamar Mills. That's when I was in high school. They took us at that time, and now it's called Red Bull, but it was called the Metro Stars. I never been to a game like that, you know, so that's something that resonates with me, coming from a low-income family, because my parents couldn't, being immigrants, and they couldn't afford that. So that's something that was an eye-opener for me, you know. So we got to continue to advocate for our youth and keep them off the streets. So recreation is important. Also, I just want to talk about how, unfortunately, the things that's happening in our community, especially with the bulk garbage, it's not working for us. It hasn't been working for us, you know, after everything that's happening. I get multiple calls. I got calls today about it, especially it impacts, especially people with language barrier or our elders or senior citizens. They're not able to navigate through the app. They don't understand it. And at the end of the day, we pay very high taxes. It should be part of it instead of just taking the kitchenware. Back then, we could throw out a sink and everything was taken at that time. So this puts another distress in our community, and it's unfortunate. And when it comes to housing, it's unfortunate that we have to make sure that all these development is happening, but what are we getting from it? We're not getting anything. All these developers, they're coming with money. They have the resources. We don't have every single building here. It should have a recreation center that's open to the public. Let the kids come in and use it when they need to. We don't have access to that. On top of that, it should be our community people, especially the low income that are from Patterson. They should have access to these housings. Instead of letting these developers, let our community get firsthand, especially the low income. Let them become homeowners, because these are the place that they've been calling home for many years. And I'm coming as, fourth generation. My great uncle came here in the mid-40s. He worked in the dye house. So did my grandfather. So coming in, I see that where it was, and it continues. I know we lack in so many things, but I'm here to advocate, and I always have been advocating for my community. So I'm not here to make any promises. But to be honest, what I'm doing here is I'm just asking for an opportunity, asking for a chance to, not just be on the board or be, writing legislation, but make sure to be the voice for the voiceless. I'm MOSLEH UDDIN, a lifelong resident. I'm 1B. Thank you.
All right. Good job, UDDIN. Next, we have another person who's no stranger to our community. As a business owner, as a community activist, Casey Melvin. Looking good today, Casey. I like that fit today, too.
Appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you, Senator. Let me get that right. For having this venue and allowing me to
Just
come.
call me Coach. I'll be better.
Okay, Coach. All right, Coach. You got it, Coach. I appreciate this venue for you having me come in here. And it's kind of strange for me to be in the barbershop, having over 40 years of experience working in the barbershop myself. I kind of came up in the barbering game, so I do have a great respect for barbers. And a lot of the best conversations, I think, regarding politics, sports, education, come through the barbershop, and it's unfiltered. So I like to say that I got a lot of my training by way of the barbershop. I also want to talk about a little bit about my background as far as how I became into politics and education. I came into education with an interest based on, experience I had, family experience when my sister passed away. And one of her commitments, one of her requests to me was to make sure my nephew graduated, So I went hard and heavy into investing in his education. And by me investing in his education, I made a lot of strides in regards to parental involvement. So parental involvement is not only important, it's vital for our kids' success. And when I accompanied Commissioner Simmons at the hearing today, I was totally and absolutely impressed. They're honored to have a person like you to advocate for them, because the information that he gave regarding the status of our school district, a lot of the laws that were violated were very, very important. And I wanted to carry that same sentiment, that same type of energy into City Council. Everybody pretty much, you got 16 candidates running. Everybody has the same issues. Nobody's proud of what they see today. When I get family members who visit from out of town, the first thing they talk about is how the city looks. When they turn on the television and how the council members are conducting themselves, and then the results that we're getting with the tax increases, with the layoffs, with the having to borrow money, and then the way we communicate and interact with each other. I've always been a person who leads with respect and intelligence, and I think that's what we need to invest more in. If we deal with things from a more intellectual perspective and a more respectful perspective as far as us being people, we can get a lot done. I don't plan on trying to do anything magnificent, because I think a lot of our solutions are simple. When we talk about the garbage, I want to do or propose some ideas regarding investing more in recycling. If the city invested more in recycling, we probably have about 30 or less %. If we invested more, I think we can generate income in those ways, being innovative with strategies. Another thing about home ownership and housing, affordable housing, it kind of turns my stomach, as a resident to learn, and a homeowner to learn, that the majority of the job opportunities in our properties are going to outside developers. I proposed in 2018 idea to give our properties to the residents first. And that idea went to fell on deaf ears. And now we got what we got, whereas we got developers buying everything up and we're overdeveloped. So I want to kind of bring back some more ideas and suggestions as far as legislation that benefit the residents, the contracts need to come to the residents first as opposed to outsiders that'll help with income. It still burns me to see our cities and hear our government talk about how much money is being invested in the city, but can't identify 1 or 2 people who've been employed by some of this investment. When you talk about the roads being resurfaced, the Rosa Parks Boulevards and the Market Streets and other roads that are being repaved, I still can't find nobody who got a job paving the road. Right, I can't find one individual who helped build some of this new development. So I want to definitely push legislation that's going to empower individuals from the community to benefit from the monies that's spent in the community between the school board and the Board of Education. That's over $1 billion a year. But when you look outside, you can't see that. So I think that has a lot to do with the people in charge as it relates to government. And I want to be one of the individuals of the many, of the 3, to make a decision to reinvest in our city, and not only our city, our people as well. So I got 30 years of community service. As you know, we've been doing some great things together for young people for over 30 years, for free, at no cost to the people who we serve. Or this wasn't my position. This was just something that I felt compelled to do because I love my city. And my number is 11B on the ballot. My name is Casey Melvin, and my slogan is Casey Melvin for the win.
Day the babies for how many years? 30 years, and he got my boy Natural Born who'll be calling me next week for something in September. Natural Born will call me 6 months ahead, but tell my boy I said what's up when you see him, please. I know he's going to be out there. Last but not least, for our special guest, we have G. Grier. Now, G. Grier was my candidate for council at large. I have to admit, I had him ready to go. We had campaign slogan and motto. He had plenty of time because anything that's going wrong in Patterson, G. Grier knows. So, G, just give us a shout out. You're all over the place. You're pointing out a lot of issues. The one issue that really was disturbing was the rats over on 16th Avenue by Alexander Hamilton. These are the issues that, nobody wants to live in squalid conditions like this. If anybody is elected mayor, I will hire G. Grier right away to be one of your daggone inspectors or whatever it is. I think he's semi-retired, so G, just tell us what's going on.
Good evening, everyone. And yes, I am retired, so if anybody got a part-time job for me, I'd be more than happy to take it. But on a serious note, yes, I was, just so you know, I was offered a city inspector job, and because of the pay, there's no way I could have taken that job. No way. And my heart goes out to the city inspectors that's out there every day that's working, but that pay needs to be bumped up for the amount of work that's involved in being inspected. It's more than just going to write their ticket. They got to go to court, they got to write their reports, and for the amount of money that the city's paying, that's why we don't have, enough inspectors. But on another note, Senator, what started me with, and I feel weird with all these cameras in front of me because I'm usually on that side, but serious, what started me was the amount of abandoned buildings in the city of Patterson. And when I used to photograph people, I would always see those buildings as the backdrop, and that really disturbed me. And that's how I first started documenting things that's going around in the city. And the number one thing right now, today I had the opportunity to take a ride down the railroad tracks with the rail company representative. They have a vehicle that's fitted that can ride right down the tracks. And the amount of trash that you guys don't see that's on those tracks is very disturbing, very disturbing. And
a big shout out to you because your advocacy obviously pushed the mayor and the city council to get folks out here and do this. And the other thing people don't see when you first, people live on our tracks. So if you look a little further down, when you talk about population numbers, these people are part of our population. Even though they didn't name, I think there's a count this week. Am I right, guys? Isn't there a count this week? A homeless count? Or well, yeah, April 8th is coming up.
The county
is doing the count. And
Homeless Connect Day.
Homeless Connect Day. And these are our people. Like, we can't look down and say here because they're going to go into the bodega. They're going to go anywhere. They're going to be doing what they got to do to survive. So we should be concerned about them. And for years, I always said, we are the city of angels because we take care of everybody's problems. And Mike, you've heard my spiel before about when we get to Trenton and they're complaining about how much money we're getting. I said, you should double that amount because nobody wants Evas, nobody wants these homeless shelters, nobody wants straight and narrows. All these people come from all over. Like I said it here before, our folks here didn't even get a job begging for money. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. So I appreciate you advocating for that. The tracks is just one part. And you know, the state and the other people have a you know, obligation to take care of these things.
Right. And the other thing is, years ago, I remember going before the city council, and I warned them that this would happen. You guys was voting on a contract that I told you that was no good. And the only person that voted against that contract was Ruby Kai. And I was very surprised. To remove bulk trash from our sanitation company is a disaster. And now we're trying to fix the problem. There's trash everywhere in the city. When I saw someone dumped in Eastside Park, the Prestige Eastside Park, and that's a result of not including bulk trash in the contract. Folks are frustrated. I was with the mayor today and the Fifth Ward councilman, and I told him again, like, we got to fix this problem because folks, let's use the Fourth Ward and the Fifth Ward. Those folks don't have the ability to store trash on the side of their house or their backyard and wait for 3 weeks for their bulk trash.
And I think it's safe to say that I think we all see that this was a mistake. And this is a case where I think we all got to backtrack and say, look, if you voted against it or for it, this is something I think a common ground everybody could come together and say, this was wrong, we have to fix this. Because I don't think any of us who've been here in our lifetime have seen trash. When you posted the picture of Eastside Park, I'm going, wow, that's bold also. Just to come through a park and dump stuff. And you see, you know, up and down Broadway, they dump in front of the Barber's Mansion, all over the place. But, gee, I got to get you back this on the regular show with Dave Gilmore because we're running out of time. And I got to get my mayor councilments here. Dave, you're going to have to come back with G because I need you for like an hour. But I just need you, Mike. Why Mike Jackson for mayor? Let's give me a wrap up.
So, you know, it's so much.
Hit all the points that we haven't talked about.
Yeah, there's so many things. And with regard to the mistake on the contract, you know, this administration saved $4.6 million on collecting bulk in-house, made zero investment back into the department, hired zero new employees, gave zero pay increases, no new equipment. You know, the answers are right here in front of us, Benjie. And I'll say this, you know, with regard to, everybody can say, listen, I want to give everybody pay increases, but how? How are we going to do it? And I've outlined exactly how. You know, we've been failed by a lot of our entities, being the Housing Authority, and giving away all the inventory, allowing developers to come in and make hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. I'll be the mayor that'll hold everyone accountable with regard to the county officials and how they allow for the jail to be closed down. That's an enormous amount of jobs that left our community, and we you know, we lost a great deal of jobs, and we're also outsourcing services to another community, as we did years ago with the youth center. You know, there's a great deal of investment that's being made. You know, Patterson is in much need for that housing facility here. To see it be built in outside of our community, I think that we have to advocate strong for our community, as this administration did when COVID hit. You know, Patterson being the most densely populated city, not just in the county, but in the entire country, you know, and we allow for services for COVID testing to be done outside of our city. So there's a lot of answers that I think that, you know, we can sit and talk about all day long. My specific plan will be to bring services in-house, making sure that we hold outside entities accountable, create job opportunities for our community, and therefore rendering a better service where we could supply speed humps on roads, because we'll be doing our own road resurfacing. You know, where we outfit our DPW department, not just with collecting garbage, but also with our Arbor department, where we are planting new trees and doing new things and innovative things with, you know, the cherry blossom things of that nature. You know, we're allowing for Patterson to just be running a whole, as you know, clearly pointed out. We're taking care of everybody else's issues. We're not holding people accountable. They're sending us their problems. I will be the mayor to hold every single entity accountable on behalf of the community and creating those opportunities that our residents desperately need. Lower housing opportunities. firmer based on the rent control scenarios, ending the Garden State growth zone. And we talked about this. Yes, it was a desperate need at that time. But the misconception that the 5 council people have given and the mayor has given, that it's an automatic. Although it's an administrative function, the administration has to approve every single one of those abatements that goes to the books. And it's just like, you know, the developers are allowed to, you know, be able to walk freely with a guarantee on the Garden State growth zone, while the residents are not being allowed to have the same privileges. And I'll say this last thing with regard to the Garden State growth zone. It was implemented in 2013. In 2023, it expired. All the other municipalities wrote and supported and upgraded their legislation to mirror that. The moment I'm elected as mayor, we're going to go back and revisit that, and every single entity that has not had a certificate of occupancy by 2023, they are not going to be eligible for that long-term 30-year tax abatement. We have to equalize taxes. In order for us to lower taxes for the homegrown, owner-occupied facilities, those people who don't live here, who are having a great big benefit, can no longer just be the only ones at the table with a benefit. So accountability is what you can depend on.
All right.
Thank
Councilman Mendez.
Thank you, Senator.
You can clap for that. That's his close.
Senator, it's time for change. The city of Patterson needs a mayor who's going to be able to work with every person. And whoever knows Alex Mendez know that I could sit with any person on the table if it's for the benefit of the city of Patterson. And speaking about being a legislator, being a councilman, everybody will all agree that we need a new mayor. This mayor failed to execute the legislation that we've been putting on the table. Patterson, it looked horrible, and I never see Patterson in this condition. And we have so many Patterson residents moving out of the city because they can't afford it to live in the city with the high taxes that we have, the lack of service that we're getting, and we paying taxes and we're not getting nothing back. As a councilman, I was a councilman that introduced the legislation to increase the fine for people that are dumping to up to $10,000. It was approved, no result. We approved $1 million for 80 cameras. The cameras are there, people still dumping. We're not holding people accountable. We don't need a cheerleader as a mayor anymore. We need somebody who's gonna hold people accountable for the job that they have to do. In terms of job, I was the one that introduced the legislation called Patterson First, to make sure that every job in the city of Patterson is for Patterson residents first. People, they have a job, and those opportunities, once they open, we have people from outside getting the little bit of job that we have. That's not going to happen with Alex Mendez. I'm looking to build partnership with local business to create jobs for our youth also. Summer's here. Our youth, they don't have a chance to get a job locally in the city of Patterson. I've been in business successfully for 20 plus years, and I know that's my background. And I know how to bring all my business together, business partners to create jobs for the youth and to build the city of Patterson. I'm speaking about rebuilding the downtown. I went to Baltimore. Everybody remember how Baltimore looked. It was horrible. You got to go to the downtown in Baltimore. It's just incredible. We don't have one name brand store in downtown. All we have is dollar store, 99 cents, and all those buildings, they're empty. Under my watch, that's not going to happen. We go back into the downtown, but we got to go back and clean the city of Patterson, make it safe, to make the city, make people attractive, to make people make sure that they want to come to the city of Patterson. Senator, we have a great opportunity, but this election is extremely important. I'm helping people to appeal the taxes. We help over 120 families already. We're going to be helping people to appeal the taxes until May 1st in my office at 414 Broadway. It's totally free at no cost. I'm fighting for my residents. You need a mayor who really cares. And the amount of, and I'm closing with this, people, I want the resident, the taxpayer, to look into the millions of dollars that we pay in lawsuit because of the mayor that we have. Millions of dollars in lawsuit. You need a mayor who's going to be able to sit with all those entities and find common ground to work together and avoid all those millions of dollars in lawsuit that we pay. Our taxpayer, we, the one that pay taxes. So that need to stop. And by electing Alex Mendez on line 1A, just give me one term. And in the first 100 days, I will clean the city of Patterson. God bless you, Pastor.
Listen, I thought I was hearing from Dave Gilmore real quick, but I can't say a comment. I got a gag order on that. I can't say nothing. Are there any council members that are supporting the closing of the schools? Any council candidates? Anybody? All right, I just want that on record. Important dates that we should know for the upcoming election?
Well, Patterson election, the municipal election started already, right? There's the vote by mails are out, sitting on people's counters. I encourage every voter, city of Patterson, to make that vote, send it back in. Early voting, I think the governor signed a bill today, extending early voting for 1 week. It's up to the municipality whether or not they implement it, but they'll have the opportunity to do so. And then for our county primary election, which is on June 2nd, deadline to register to vote for the primary is May 12th. So anyone who's not registered to vote and wants to vote in this primary, do it by May 12th. And I think that opportunity of allowing people a smoother transition in the voting process is going to happen when we build our new county administrative building where the old jail was. We couldn't build a new jail. And we're saving county taxpayers up to $15 million a year by not building that. It's hard to argue quality of life and economic development if you have a jail smack dab in the middle of downtown.
All right, when is the deadline to register for the May 12th municipal election? April 21st? Yes. April 21st is the deadline. If you're not registered, get registered. Commissioner Simmons, any closing remarks?
So, as you heard, I gave my best Johnny Cochran today. But the fight
if
is
it
going
don't
to continue.
fit,
you must have quit. Right? So we're going to continue this fight. As Councilman Jackson said, the judge acknowledged all of the merits and the facts of the case. The only thing we couldn't prove was irreparable harm. But if you don't live here, you don't understand what that irreparable harm is. That's right. Parents are right now trying to figure out where their kids are going to go. You can't take a kid from Norman that's weird that performs at above 70% and send them to school 10, which performs lower than 10%. That's irreparable harm, and that can't be reversed. So we're going to continue to fight. I will keep the dates out there for people that want to come down as we continue to move through that process.
All right, listen. I want to thank all of our mayor candidates. CRUZ declined also today, didn't come back. Mayor Saya, I wish all you guys the best of luck. I think the common ground is that we all want this to be better.
That's right.
And if you don't want it to be better, and we're like Patterson's decide chick, something's wrong. Like with the hustle, we no longer need to be the hustle.
That's right.
We need to be the priority. So, council members, incumbents, I wish you the best. Those seeking council seats, I wish you the best. But keep Patterson's heart at mind. Do what's best, not just for you and your friends. Do what's best for your kids and your grandkids and your great-grandkids. Right. And that's my fight personally, is that I'm not going anywhere. I don't want to move down south. I don't want to go nowhere. I want to stay here. This is my home. Right. And I love Patterson. But under the squalid conditions we see it sometimes, we have to understand that change is inevitable. But also admitting you're wrong is something that as men and women, we have to sit down at the table, clean up our petty differences and move on. And it's time for us to stop being so petty and move on. And that's something we have to do what's best. You have to look at the legacy of the people who died for your right to vote. People who got dogs sicked on them, fire hose on them. And now we sit here and we're petty and don't vote. So people are not expecting you to come out, Patterson. They want you to stay home. They want it to stay at that low percentage. Well, 80,000 plus registered voters, everybody who's complaining on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, all that, don't stop being so corny. Come out and do the right thing and vote. And grab some folks that are complaining with you. And some brothers who think they can't vote, you can vote. So make sure that you get those brothers who have, misdemeanors and all those offenses that think they can't vote. They can vote. Felonies. Yeah. So we got to make sure that these folks know, and that, you know what, these are the same things where I said, like, going to be a jurist and a jury duty. You have to get involved in these things and stop complaining.
May I make a suggestion, Senator? It's obvious you have a very inquisitive audience. We could take it across the street in the old temple. I think you should host another real
we gotta
format.
If we could get everybody at one table, we'll get more time to do that. But right now, I'm kind of loyal to the House of Experts. As far as, the guy gave me my first chance coming here, so you got to stay loyal to your guys. But listen,
we need some space.
It is the NCAA, and we you know what, we'll look at that before the 12th. NCAA basketball championships tonight, and you guys better be ready for basketball questions tonight. So we have UConn versus Michigan, and we're gonna close it. And you're ready. I just need one pick. You ain't got to tell me why. Just give me your pick.
Michigan.
Michigan.
UConn.
Going to
Councilwoman, come on.
Michigan all the way.
I would say Michigan.
UConn. Michigan.
G. Grier is on the. All right, nobody cares down there. Whoever said they don't care, it's all right with me. But listen,
I know who say don't care.
I'm rolling with the Hurley family. I'm going with UConn. Even though we got a Jersey kid, 2 Jersey kids, I'm Michigan, so we can't lose. But more important, I just say please invest in our children, in our future. Show them the right way to do it by not littering, by acting the right way and being civil to each other. And I thank everybody for being so civil this evening. Listen, maybe, Mike, we'll get this together before the air. We'll find a spot and we'll come together. But if you're not doing anything tonight, you just need a place to watch TV and talk a little junk about sports. Check out Fast Break Sports Lounge in Center City Lounge, 301 Main Street, a shameless plug for the family. So please do what's best for our community.
That's right.
And at the end of the day, I always say, each and every person here could show our young folks and not so young folks that hope is here. God bless.
All right.